my tunes were played on the harp, on the strum. Would you hear my voice come through the music? Would you hold it near as it were your own? It's a hand-me-down. The thoughts are broken. Perhaps they're better left unsung. I don't know. Don't really care. Let there be songs to fill the air. Ripple in still water when there is no careful toss, no wind to blow. Reach out your hand. If your cup be empty, if your cup is full, may it be again, let it be known. There is a fountain that was not made by the hands of men. There is a road, no simple highway between the dawn and the dark of night. And if you go, no one may follow. That path is for your steps alone. Ripple in still water when there is no ever toss, no wind to blow. You choose to lead, must follow. But if you fall alone. If you should stand, then who's to guide you? If I knew the way, I would take you home. La da da da, la da 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 da, la da.
Very full house today. I hope everyone has a seat. And please feel free, I don't think available seats. There's some seats here if anyone would like to come forward and use them. We're here for a little while, and being able to sit down is a great option to have. Hello everyone. My name is Catherine Sampson, and I'm honoured to have the opportunity to be part of today's service. I warmly welcome you here to acknowledge and celebrate the life of Colin John Lennon. Colin's family and friends sincerely thank you all for your attendance, especially those of you who've travelled some distance in order to be here, and that includes Colin's siblings. We have Alan, Gary, Jeannie and Marlene, and they've come from New South Wales, so it's really good to see that you're here safe. I'm so terribly sorry. Please know that you are all an integral part of Colin's farewell today. It's times like this the support of family and friends is so very deeply appreciated. I do want you to know that during the service there'll be an opportunity for anyone wishing to share some stories or memories of Colin with us, and I'll let you know when that time comes. Something I do request, if you do come forward to speak, could I please ask you to introduce yourself and your connection with Colin, just in case there are some people here who are unsure of this, and I do thank you in advance for doing that. There will also be a chance at the end of the service today for you to write a message on Colin's coffin, an opportunity for a final farewell. And now, the acknowledgement of country. This version was written by Jonathan Hill, who is an Indigenous poet living in New South Wales. Today we stand in footsteps millennia old. May we acknowledge the traditional owners whose cultures and customs have nurtured and continue to nurture this land since men and women awoke from the great dreaming. We honour the presence of these ancestors who reside in the imagination of this land and whose irrepressible spirituality flows through all creation. I have something that I would like to share with you. It's a short quote, and it was written by Oliver Sacks. He's an acclaimed neurologist and an author, and I feel it's a really fitting way to continue Colin's service today. There will be no one like us when we are gone, but there is no one like anyone else ever. When people die, they cannot be replaced. They leave holes that cannot be filled. But the joy of having known that person and the comfort of having them in your memories is never lost. Colin John Lemon was born on the 8th of March 1953 in Toowoomba, Victoria, which is near Mount Beauty. Colin's parents were John Lemon and Gladys May, near Johnson, Lemon. They were known to everyone as Jack and Glory. Now, Colin was the second of what was to become a family of 4 children, the eldest being Alan. Colin was the second oldest. Then came Gary and the baby of the family, Janine. And another family member we need to include is Colin's stepsister, Marlene. When Colin was a little tucker, the family moved to Castlemaine, and it was here that Colin spent most of his childhood and ultimately the majority of his adult life. He went to Castlemaine North Primary School and then on to the Castlemaine Tech College. Colin was a bit of a shy kid growing up. It was actually something that impacted the way he helped others in the future. He kept an eye out for people who were a little on the outer, people who needed a bit of a hand to meet others, and they became part of a community that Colin helped create. Empathy is often developed from shyness. After secondary school, Colin took on his technical apprenticeship and trained to become an audio-visual technician. It was a career path that was to impact the lives of a countless number of people in the years to come, and I truly believe that evidence is here right in front of me. Colin lived and worked in Melbourne in the late 70s before returning to Central Victoria to work at Turner and Corson's in Bendigo during the 80s. As a man who was incredibly fond of a good gadget, the career path he chose suited him very well. Colin loved technical thingamajigs. Colin went on to have 2 children with Sue Dorrington, his sons Jared and Ryan. When I asked Jared what it was like to have Colin as his dad, Jared took great care in finding the right words to use, a bit like his dad would have done. Jared said that Colin loved unconditionally and that he was absolutely accepting and supporting no matter what the decision. And Colin was known to speak of the great pride he had in his sons. I believe now is a good time to invite Colin's son Jared to come forward to share some of his thoughts and memories of his dad with us. Thank you, Jared.
Hello everybody, I'm Jared, Colin's eldest. Give me one moment. I've just prepared very brief words for Colin today. It can be challenging to find the words to express things adequately in life. There are many things that are just difficult to say. I don't know the words that can adequately express my gratitude that I feel towards Colin for his care and for his unconditional love. But I can just say thank you to him, and he found it difficult sometimes to say that, he was proud of us or that he loved us, but he did say it. And so I should say as well to Colin that I love him too, and he did accomplish a lot as a friend and as a father. He should be proud. I'd like to thank all of you for being here today, to celebrate Colin's life and the impact that he made on everybody's lives and will continue to have as an impact going forward. I can't remember the other things that I planned to say, but needless to say, to all of you that made it and to those that couldn't, that demonstrates the appreciation that we feel for Colin, and that says a lot more than words can express. So, thank you again.
Thank you, Jerry. Your dad would be so very proud. Colin wore many hats throughout his life. He was a son, a partner, a father, an uncle, an audiovisual wizard, a musician, and a mate. A really good mate. And one of those very good friends is Leonie Saunders. Leonie told me that she met Colin when they were both teenagers. I think you were about 14, he was about 16. Oh, not a man. It was the start of a friendship that would span over 5.5 decades. And they had a connection that they held incredibly dear. And I would like to ask Leonie to come forward to share some of her memories of her beloved Colin with us.
If I can hold this together, everyone, it will be an absolute legend. I hope you bear with me. I actually was going to speak just direct from the heart today. At 4 o'clock this morning, I just decided what I'd mapped in my head would just disintegrate. So I've written some things down. I remember when my friendship with Colin began, the first night we met. I don't know how many know, but Colin was incredibly shy when he was a young man. Thankfully, I was not. The first time I met him was at a gig with my first boyfriend, Tony, who played drums in a band with Colin's elder brother, Alan, who's here today. Wonderful. During one of the brand breaks, Colin and I got chatting about books we had read, and he told me of one of his favourite poems, The Jabberwocky, by Lewis Carroll. Excuse me. The Jabberwocky is a poem filled with made-up words that have a musicality to them. And for Colin, who loved wordplay and relished the absurd in life, I think he was testing me. He wanted to know if I got it. Probably if he deserved to be my friend. And when I responded in kind by ticking his linguistic funny bone, he was suitably impressed. And from that moment on, we became friends. Of course, at that time, neither of us knew that friendship would span 55 years. It would grow into a deep trust and respect for each other. Cole's legacy to me were many. He introduced me to Monty Python, to The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, to the Goodies and many others that tickled his fancy. We often had hilarious conversations from programs and what had transpired. Along with music, reading was a life source for Colin and his imagination. He told me I had to read Tolkien's Lord of the Rings, including the Silmarillion, which of course I did. Colin shared with me his passion for music, his love of the absurd, and the humour of his words wrapped in intricacies and mystery. Like most people, Colin had various idiosyncrasies, one of which I discovered early on was he could be quite impatient when he was teaching me how to play chess. I recall how proud he was when he told me he had invented a new game called Four Pawns. He had to teach me how to play it immediately. It took me a while, but eventually I started to win both chess and Four Pawns, at least some of the time. Years later, Colin taught himself to write code, and voila, he created a chess board built with his Four Pawns game on the computer. He also taught me to clean the heads on VCRs and how to connect TV systems and cables, which people call on me and family call on me now to do. As I said earlier, Colin was terribly shy, but over the years I have seen him blossom. Colin was dedicated to music. He came to the fore as a man of many talents that became identified and appreciated by the customary music community over the past 20 years or so. Most people would know Colin's love for the Grateful Dead, but this enthusiasm wasn't limited to the Dead alone. Excuse me for stressing. There are many. We would have a great time together listening to our faves, thank you, faves from the 60s and 70s. Excuse me a minute. I'm holding up okay, actually.
Doing well.
Where are we? Our faves from the 60s and 70s. I'm so grateful that Colin's dedication to music and has become well known. There are many people here today who can testify to Colin's amazing contribution to Main FM and the support he gave hard-working bands and performance. Many of you here today have experienced Colin's expertise and his passion for music. There are few things in life that are certain, but I'm standing here today forever grateful. For the certainty, of Colin's friendship, and I trust he was equally certain of mine for him. Colin was always there for me, caring, kind, compassionate, free of judgment. He made me laugh and he made me think. My mother once said to me that if you can count your friends on the fingers of one hand, you should consider yourself wealthy. But if you have one true friend that you can rely on when things are tough, you should consider yourself blessed. And I'm truly blessed. So to that end, to be able to say with certainty that Colin has been that friend with certainty throughout my life, I do feel truly blessed. I like my dear friend.